Greetings, warriors. Griffin, how you guys doing? Now, welcome back to the GGGryphon gaming channel for Sailors to give me a blessing in the video. Guys, today, or tonight, rather, however, whenever you're watching this, is going to be my last video regarding RE9 until further notice. We can only go so much on this reveal trailer, and I'm not trying to milk any views or anything, so I just want to make one last video on the director's special message. He did actually put a video out on a special message, and I'll read that out to you, and I do want to address something about that as well. I want to go over, it's going to be a small section, but I want to go over a couple of the voices that we heard in the reveal trailer to where maybe I think it could be who it could be, but also I want to, discuss something a little bit about the voices as well. Final one, which is the big one, is my final theory on who the man in the chair in the reveal is. A lot of people say a certain name, and I think it could be that. Doesn't necessarily, I believe it is that, but I can see probably where they're going, and I think I have the answer why on that. That's going to be the big one. So if you want to skip to that one, by all means, I'm going to leave chapters to your viewing pleasure on about that. So let's get this started. All right, now the first thing we're going to go over is the director's special message. Now this video was uploaded one day ago at the time of this recording. When I saw it, it said 21 hours ago. I was still at work when I saw it. It's unlisted and it's all in Japanese. I never even heard of this channel before, probably because it's considered a Japanese channel, which of course, Biohazard, that means Resident Evil, of course, which we're looking into. But he only put this on this particular channel. So right here, as we get started on here, right now it's muted for, so I can speak over it, but I do have the translation exactly what he's saying because everything is in Japanese other than his name and the director. I don't know why they kept that in English. That's weird. But regardless of that, but I have the translation for you in full here. Hello, Platinum Ambassadors. Thank you for your continued support. I'm Koshi Naganishi, director of Biohazard Requiem. As Platinum Ambassadors, you may already know, but we finally announced Biohazard Requiem the other day. It's the 9th title in the series. A year ago, we released a video saying we're working on it, but we were finally able to make the announcement. I'd like to know what everyone thought of the trailer. The new protagonist is Grace, and it's a complete horror game from the protagonist's perspective. Now, I'm pausing the video because I want to interject on that statement that I just said. Some people have misinterpreted that. That means that it's going to be in first person. Okay, I guess it's an honest mistranslation because I can probably see it, but there was nothing confirming that it's first person. Resident Evil fans, I get it. I'm not gonna say we, because I personally do not care, but I understand the majority of the masses wants this game to be in third person. I totally understand, but I'm on the side of I'm happy that there's a new Resident Evil. I can play both. However, I do see both sides, right? I did state earlier I would prefer third person because if there's like a skin or a costume, I want to see that. If my character dies, I want to see that so I can feel like crap and hopefully I can get better at the game and all that and get my vengeance on the mofo that got me, right? And also when it comes to the combat, I understand in first person, it looks a little bit wonky. Case in point, there's actually a scene in Resident Evil Village when Mother Miranda, or not Mother Miranda, Mommy Lady Dimitrescu, grabs you, he slams you down 3 times into the floor. It looks weird in first person. I can only imagine how that looked in third person. So I get, that's what I'm saying. In that aspect, I get, but in first person, a lot of people do get motion sickness as well. So I do understand that. That's why, because I can do both, I'm also not selfish. I'd rather have the option to do both so both fan bases can play the game however they see fit. And I feel like Capcom is going to do that thanks to the outcry of the fans of happiness when we have that opportunity to play that in Resident Evil Village. So I think we'll get it in both, but in this case here, I think it was misinterpreted. I don't think he's stating that it's going to be in first person. Those lines were never said. So I do want people to relax because some of the fan base are going crazy because of that line. All right, so that's all. I'm only gonna say that. So let's relax. It hasn't been confirmed yet. Let's relax. Maybe hopefully we'll see something at the demo in August. By the way, in Biohazard 7, there was a new protagonist, and the story unfolded in an unpredictable way. I think that element is also present here, along with the return of RPD. On the other hand, this title is deeply connected to the main storyline of the Biohazard series. In terms of what we worked on, Revelations is a title that fits that description. This title has a solid budget, and I think it may be one that fans will enjoy the most compared to 7 and Revelations. There's still a lot of information we haven't shared, but the release date is February 27, 2026. So we'll keep you posted as we go along. Keep supporting us. So with that, the video ends there. So he kept it short and sweet. It was only 1 minute and 35, nothing too crazy other than that line right there, of course. With that last line, he said there's still a lot of information that we haven't shared. Now, At the time of this video, I normally don't cover things like these, but apparently there's a thing going on. Even 𝐷ustGolem said himself, and also other peeps that were at Summer Games Fest are saying this as well. They're saying it on X. Now, like I said, I'm not on social media on X. I just see multiple videos covering it, and I looked at it myself, and I'm seeing a few people saying that as well. That apparently there is an embargo currently right now for Resident Evil 9, that they're going to reveal something tomorrow at the recording of this video. Right now it is Tuesday, and tomorrow they're going to reveal something, or there's gonna be information that they can say because there's an embargo on it. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's a collector's edition. We don't know if it's a demo and they just fooled us again. We don't know if there's gonna be another trailer. We don't know what it is. Now, of course, like I said, I don't take leakers' word as gospel. A lot of people have a lot of trust in those peeps. I personally don't mind them because it gets the community talking, but there are people that take those as gospel and then they get disappointed when it's not true. Personally, side note, on Wednesday, I'm off. I'm going to be playing Stellar Blade on the PC because that's the day that it releases. And if something comes up about Resident Evil 9 because of that, then cool. Until then, I'm not going to be focused on that. So I just want to put that out there. All right. That is the director's special message as of the recording of this video. What you guys think about it? Let me know. All right, guys. So the next topic is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. Okay. So it's about the voices that we hear in the trailer, which I'm going to play here. Okay. Now there's a few of them that after I've heard them so many times, I can kind of hear what some fans are saying. There's two specific voices. And I'm going to go into this right here. So this first one here.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
The first one, investigating all these strange deaths, huh? After hearing it and repeating it, I can sort of hear Leon, if that's the case. I can sort of hear that being a Leon. I can understand that, okay? Now that second voice, some think that voice is Ada. I'm not 100% sure, but let's say this. I have yet to experience a Resident Evil game that if Leon is in the game, Ada is not in there. I haven't experienced that at all, okay? Usually if Leon is involved, Ada makes an appearance, which I ain't upset with that. I mean, bring on baby Ada. I ain't worried about that. All right, now let's press on about the second voice I want to talk about.
Please know that you are my hope.
Now that voice right there, I want to do a quick cut. That voice there about hope, a lot of people are saying that could be Alyssa talking to Grace. Okay, that voice is probably a flashback. And the reason why is because now that we know that Alyssa was murdered, according to what this trailer is telling us, that could be maybe Grace in her, not Grace, Alyssa in her final moments talking to Grace. Good, it's a good interpretation. And then we also hear,
everyone's gone.
we also hear that sounds like a little girl, which could be another flashback of Grace maybe talking to somebody else. Maybe when she's looking for her mother, or after her mother passed away, or well, murdered. We don't know, but it's good interpretations, okay? But there's one that most fans are confident about this one.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Now that particular one, have you seen the same shit I've seen? Okay. Now a lot of people are saying they hear Chris or they hear Carlos. Fun fact, the same voice actor who did Carlos' voice in R3 Remake and modern right now Chris is the same person. So that could be either or, however, the voice sounds like Carlos. Now granted, I know it's the same voice actor, but you also gotta understand, when it comes to these voice actors, they have great talent to change their voices, change the tone, everything, where they could sound like somebody else, but you still hear them. You know, they still hear them. The tone, the inflection, everything can still come out that, okay, I hear Carlos, that is Carlos, but I also hear Chris, because it's the same voice, right? I'm not saying that is the case here, but people are saying that it's Carlos or Chris. The only thing I can say, I feel like that's probably the same voice actor that did them, and he's probably voicing somebody else. My only theory on these voices really that I kind of hope for is that because we see Alyssa, I'm hoping that these voices are the characters in Outbreak. I hope it's that. Now granted, I would love for the OG characters to return. I hope maybe one of those is the OG characters and that's a voice that of one of them or two of them or all of them that we heard. I'm cool with that. But I want to really be the Outbreak characters because I would love for them to make an appearance. And there's a good shot that they could, or a flashback or something, now that we see Alyssa. But that's just telling us as fans that, hey, they are acknowledging Outbreak. I mean, heck, the way the story is evolving or revolving around Grace and her mother being Alyssa, which is one of the survivors from Resident Evil Outbreak. So I would love, absolutely love for those voices to really just be the Outbreak characters. But at the same time, I'm no stickler. I would love for those voices to also be the OGs as well. But I prefer one or the other because I would hope that we probably see the OG characters. But because we can't interpret who these characters are, I personally hope that they are the Outbreak characters. Personally. Because That would just show that they can expand more on the characters and maybe get some of them to return. However they're gonna do it, I don't know. Okay, so that's just personally what I would feel, but those are the voices that people are saying they hear. At least the first one, and the same shit I've seen. A lot of people are saying the first one, you know, the Strange Deaths Hunt. A lot of people are saying that's Leon, and the one that we just did, a lot of people are saying that's either Chris or Carlos. In that particular voice, I hear more of Carlos, at least in the tone and everything, but I hope that's probably one of the Outbreak characters. Now, onto the big boy, the big reason you're probably here on this. What we're going to be talking about is a theory that I thought of relating to this character here, or this person here, okay? A lot of people are saying this person could be the one and only Ozwell E. Spencer, or Earl Spencer, AKA one of the founders of Umbrella, the top dog. All right. Now, in my previous video about RE9, I said that I cannot see this being Ozwell because of what happened to him back in RE5, you know, what Wesker did to him. I find it hard to believe and hard to fathom at the time, okay? Now, the reason why is because, you know, Wesker is legit my favorite villain in RE, and I just did not, in my head, think that Wesker would kill him and leave him alive, or mistakenly kill him and thought that he was dead and he was alive. I had a hard time believing that and everything. On a slim chance, I still do. But after sitting here for a while and had some time at work and thinking about it and everything, I came up with a theory on the possibility of this being Ozwell E. Spencer. Okay, now the last image we have of Ozwell E. Spencer was in that castle where he was talking to Wesker. Okay, now he's, you know, now I'm looking at side profiles, right? In the picture that I actually have of him, you can actually see, I'm actually gonna pull the picture up. This picture here, you see him, right? You see this hair slicked back and everything, and it's white, right? If you were to picture a side profile, possible side profile, you could possibly get this. Now, granted, yes, the hair is black. That was kind of like the key thing for me. I was like, yeah, that's not Ozwell. Ozwell is gone. He's an old man, right? But the hair, you know, slicked back like this, it could be anybody, of course. I just assume this is probably a new villain. Now, I do want to cut this real quick and just tell you guys that a lot of people are also saying that this could be a Mr. Brandon Bailey, another one of the founding members, or a protege of Dr. James Marcus, another founding member of Umbrella, okay? That could be them, okay? We don't even have a face to Mr. Brandon Bailey, at least from what I understand. Even in the wiki that I actually looked up his name, I was like, I don't see a face. So they're saying that this could be him, okay? Another interpretation I'm cool with, a new antagonist, I'm perfectly okay with that, absolutely. But let's get back on track to why this could be Ozwell E. Spencer. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to interpret this as best as I can, all right? So get your popcorn, all that stuff, relax and get ready, because we're gonna do a little history lesson that's going to tie into what I'm saying on how this could be Ozwell E. Spencer, okay? Follow me on this and keep track to what I'm talking about. Keep track of what I'm saying. I'm gonna do my best to explain this, okay? This is my first time going through like a deep lore kind of thing on how I came with this theory and how it could be. Now, I do want to say the reason why I came up with this theory because I actually replayed Resident Evil 8 Village. Okay, I replayed it, looked at some notes and everything, and conjured up some stuff a little bit and see how it could be, how to relate specifically with Mother Miranda and Ozwell E. Spencer. Okay, this is basically relating to these guys. Okay, remember this: Ozwell E. Spencer was born in 1923. We know that he died in August of 2006. Mother Miranda was born way before him. It says that Mother Miranda was born in the late 19th century. Now that could be from 1801 to 1900. She died in 2021 by our boy Ethan. Now remember those dates because it's going to trail back on this. Now we're going to go ahead and get into how Ozwell met Miranda. In the 1950s, he was in his 20s. He went on a solo hiking trip in Eastern Europe, but because of his inexperience, he got lost. He stumbled on a village where Mother Miranda found him. Now they got along really great because Ozwell E. Spencer as a young man had this mind of changing the world. Not in the right mindset that we all know of, obviously, but that was his vision. Okay, Mother Miranda at this time, of course, is still grieving over the loss of her daughter. Her daughter was her world. Okay, she stumbled in a cave where she ends up getting infected or basically meeting or seeing this black mold, which in turn she calls and the villagers call Black God. She ends up using this mold to basically take over the village. She has ruled this village from 1919 to 2021 to her death by Ethan Winters. In 1919, Ozwell E. Spencer wasn't even born yet. So by the time she met him, she was already ruling over this village with this mold. She was still wanting to use this mold, doing her research on and everything for one goal, to bring back her daughter. Now, the one fascinating thing about this mold that we know that can and has done, because of her age and how long she has lived, and we see a younger version of her during the final boss battle, and when we even meet up with her and talk with her, she still looks very young, right? So we know that the mold in the Mega Might Seat has the ability to keep your younger self and to keep you thriving. Ozwell E. Spencer, his goals were not in line with Miranda, right? For what the mold can do, that wasn't going to achieve his goals as he had in mind. So of course he stayed and researched things with Miranda and everything, and eventually, because of her and inspired by Mother Miranda and her vision, he went on and created the Umbrella Pharmaceuticals, which went on to be the Umbrella Corporation as we know of today. Fun fact, and of course we already know that the logo and insignia of Umbrella that we have known for many years came from his research and Mother Miranda. In the village, you have the 4 houses. In the insignia, they're in a corner. One corner, top left, top right, etc., etc. When you have an umbrella in the middle of it, it becomes an octagonal shape, as you see here that I'm showing you, which in turn resulted in Ozwell E. Spencer getting the inspiration to have that in his logo. So that was actually a fun fact on how Capcom was able to tie that in on how he got the insignia. A very, very simple insignia, but it was inspired by something very big for Ozwell E. Spencer. Now, during this time, he had close friends. One of them is Dr. James Marcus, and then Dr. James Marcus has a protege named Brandon Bailey. To this day, at least for me, we haven't seen a face, but we just know a name. Throughout the whole course of Umbrella's lifespan, okay, you know, it was a thriving company, all that good stuff, but of course, you know, Ozwell E. Spencer was getting paranoid. His competition, he would kill him off, you name it. He met Dr. Wesker. You know, the whole story flips on, okay? Now continuing on. Now he's getting older. During this time, he's getting older. He wants to maintain his youth. So he assisted the help of Miss Alex Wesker to look into a mutagenic virus capable of restoring his youth, okay? However, Alex Wesker does not give a crap about Ozwell E. Spencer. So because he funded her research, gave her the facility, the subordinates, all that good stuff like that, Alex Wesker betrayed him and took everything, the money that she received from him, the subordinates that she had, all that stuff, and she went on to research her own thing at a different location. Now, at this point, Ozwell E. Spencer is now thinking his death is inevitable at this point. There's nothing he can do. All right. And we know how Ozwell E. Spencer looks thanks to the Resident Evil 5 DLC. When him and Wesker are talking, he is old, he's frail, he's hooked up to a machine, he can barely stand. We've seen it, right? We've seen how he looks. It's like literally he's on his last legs. Now this is where it gets to the part where my theory where it could be Ozwell E. Spencer sitting in this chair. It ties back to Ethan. When Ethan was killed by Mother Miranda, he had his heart ripped out. He ends up having a dream where Evelyn, the antagonist of Resident Evil 7, tells him that isn't it funny that every time you got hurt, I'm paraphrasing here of course, every time you got hurt, you're basically fine. He ends up getting infected by the mold thanks to Jack Baker, one of the antagonists in Resident Evil 7, killed him. He was infected by the mold. However, Mia states to Chris in Resident Evil 8 that Ethan is special. It seems that Ethan resonated with the mold very, very well to where he basically can heal. We seen this when Mama Dimitrescu cut his hand off and he was able to put it back on seamlessly. Now I know as fans, I know at least I was like, WTF, how the heck did that happen? And Ethan is not even questioning it. There's something to that. He's part of the mold. Now, even Mother Miranda was actually impressed by this because after he goes back to see her again, I'm paraphrasing, it seemed she basically was saying she's very impressed. Like I said, I'm paraphrasing. I know she said a different line, but paraphrasing here. You get my point. Going back to that, Ethan was able to stay alive from that. He was killed by Mother Miranda by having his heart ripped out. His heart, and a vital organ in the human body, his heart ripped out, and he still lived and killed Mother Miranda in 2021. And as of right now, that is the end of Mother Miranda. Okay, unless the Mega Might Seat is still around and she's still within the lifeline in the Mega Might Seat, because as we know, Ethan helped out Rosemary in the DLC. Ethan was dead, but because they have a connection with the mold in the Mega Might Seat, Ethan technically still lives in that manner. So spiritually, if that makes sense. So in a sense, Mother Miranda is probably not 100% dead. Now, hear what I just said about Ethan. Who's to say, right, that after Wesker did what he did to Ozwell E. Spencer, Who's to say that Ozwell didn't do any investigation of the mold himself, probably injected himself with the mold to do some research with Mother Miranda, all that good nature. Maybe Mother Miranda told him that she rules over this village and what the mold is capable of and what she's trying to do with the mold, right? What if Ozwell E. Spencer got in a notion like, okay, hey, let me try this out. And maybe at the time he just seemed like it wasn't working for him, wasn't affecting him. I don't know, right? However, Ethan was killed when he was still very young. Ozwell E. Spencer had a healthy life and continuing on with Umbrella, and of course he's just getting old and frail, right? So he didn't really die yet, and maybe that's why the mold didn't really do anything. Wesker kills him. We all know what happens in that. Now we don't know in this theory, like, okay, well, what happened to Ozwell E. Spencer's body? Did Chris just leave it there after what happened to Wesker and Jill? We don't know all that stuff like that. I haven't really thought about that, which is why I'm saying this is a theory. Who's to say that after Ozwell E. Spencer died by the hands of Wesker, that the mold finally took action? We saw what the mold did to Mother Miranda. Mother Miranda at this point in 2006, when Ozwell E. Spencer is old and frail, reality without the mold, Mother Miranda should be dead. But she is still young and still thriving in that village because we know that her death is not until 2021 by Ethan, and Ozwell E. Spencer dies in 2006. So we're talking a big gap in years at this point, where Mother Miranda realistically should be dead, but she's not, and she's still young. Ozwell E. Spencer's getting old, Wesker kills him, the mold takes effect and starts to actually heal itself, heal him, and maybe because his hair is black here, like I said, I'm just assuming here, his hair is black here, this could be a young / older Ozwell E. Spencer, where he doesn't need the machines or anything of that nature, okay? That could be a theory. That could be a theory, considering what he's wearing all black, maybe that could be the hooded. He's also probably the hooded guy that we keep seeing around here as well. We don't know any of that yet either. Pause for a sec, guys. This is Editor Griff. I also want to point out something as well, that some fans were saying that this could also be Wesker making a return. Now, I don't necessarily believe it could be Wesker. However, I cannot also deny the fact that if you zoom in on the photo here, he's wearing all black. In Resident Evil 5, Wesker was wearing all black as well. He had the black gloves, he had the black trench coat, all that. It's just the material of the coat that we're looking at here is just the way the material looks. It looks like it resembles the black coat and black getup that Wesker was wearing in Resident Evil 5. So I can understand slightly where fans could say this could be Wesker, but I don't want to simply say that simply because that's what Wesker wore in RE5. Let's also remember that is also what Wesker wore when he killed Ozwell E. Spencer. Basically, my theory is, going down that little history lesson with you guys, that more than likely there could be a chance that after Wesker killed him, the mold took over, healed Ozwell E. Spencer, making him youthful again, or capable of being here, okay, especially if this is in the current timeline that we're looking at, right? And now he's the main antagonist. Now, it would be fascinating if he is the main antagonist, because we're talking about the head of Umbrella, the head of the company that started all of this Resident Evil glory that we all know and love today, and he's the main antagonist. It's great to think about. It would be great to see that, okay, now we as the player get to take him down. The man, the myth, I guess you could say the legend, because if it wasn't for Ozwell E. Spencer making Umbrella, you know, we wouldn't have this, right? I guess you could say. Treating it as a real life, I know it's a video game. That's my theory, and hopefully that made sense on how I explained it. This is my first time trying to go into a deep dive lore with you guys, and I hope I didn't stutter too much or made it sound bad on me. Now, with all that being said, to the fans that say this could be Brandon Bailey, we know that Brandon Bailey is significant as well, because he is one of the founding members with Umbrella, because he is a protege to Dr. James Marcus, one of 2 of Spencer's close friends that he met at university. We don't know anything yet on that. Brandon Bailey's name was heard, at least I want to say, in Resident Evil 5, and he's still actively present, but we still don't know what's going on. I know he is the head of the villain corporation. I think it's called the Connections. I want to say something like that. So his name is out there, but we don't know anything. So a lot of people are saying this could be Brandon Bailey. I didn't really think of that because his name doesn't really pop up like all the time where I think about it. So I was like, okay, now I see why it could be. Do I think it is? It would be cool. It would be a new antagonist. But it would also be cool if this is Ozwell E. Spencer as well. Now, with that theory and everything that I just said, okay, do I think this is Ozwell E. Spencer? In my personal opinion, even with that theory that I thought that it could be, even with that, no, I don't think it's him. I personally think we have a new antagonist, brand new Resident Evil, brand new antagonist, especially this far in the timeline. It could be anybody. Now, maybe this person is related to someone that we know in the past. Okay, like apparently, according to the director, it relates heavily to the timeline of Biohazard or Resident Evil. So if all this is relate to it and it flows seamlessly, this could be someone that we do know, and we really just don't know obviously who it is. Okay, I would love for it to be Ozwell E. Spencer. I would love for it to be Brandon Bailey. I would love for it to be a brand new antagonist. I'm just happy that we're getting a new Resident Evil. Okay, I am not a stickler, all right, but if I had to guess, I would say this is a brand new antagonist who probably relates to someone that we know, or has connection to someone that we know in the Resident Evil franchise. And it's probably gonna be a big twist that Capcom is gonna throw at us, which I cannot wait for. But I do not think that this is Ozwell E. Spencer. It could be Brandon Bailey because we haven't even seen his face or anything. It could be him. I'm more inclined to believe that. But I want to say this is a brand new antagonist, and if I'm wrong and it's someone that we know and it is Ozwell E. Spencer or anything, then my reaction is going to just be fantastic because I'm going to be shocked. I hope you enjoyed that breakdown and the theory on how I think this could be Ozwell E. Spencer. Do I think it's him? No, but I did my best to explain it, and I hope you guys followed through with what I'm saying. Okay, I did my very best I could on that, so this is gonna be really fun to edit. This is going to be my last video concerning RE9 until something concrete from the devs pop up for me. I may make another video about rumors and leakers, because I did get a question about that and I do want to address them, especially in the RE community. Regardless of that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me trying to do some theories and breaking some things down in this trailer, and hopefully we see some more very soon of RE9. Hopefully at Gamescom we at least hear about what the demo is like and everything, and if they saw somebody else, maybe they can tell us or anything of that nature, and hopefully we can have a demo soon. But knowing how Resident Evil do it, I guarantee we probably won't even have a hands-on demo for us common folk probably until January, or maybe like 2 weeks before the game comes out, like they did with RE4 Remake. Capcom does do that. But one thing Capcom always does, at least for Resident Evil, we always at least get a demo to try out and see for ourselves. So I can at least hope for that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.